Got a headache, tell me why I'm filming with a headache, tell me why. I can't sing anymore. Hello my loves and welcome back to my channel. My name is Charlie and today I'm doing my June wrap up. So how this is gonna go is I'm gonna start off with talking about minuscule stats, then I'm gonna go through the books one by one and tell you which prompts each book fulfilled, and at the end I'm going to reveal my status in the readathon and the amount of points I got overall. So I was a part of Comrades of Chaos, the pink team, and I pledged 8 books and I ended up reading 17. I didn't think I would have another month where my reading went over 10, so I'm really proud of myself. I went in. I went in. This readathon definitely made me feel competitive. I wanted to read as much as possible, and I did that. So this is my best reading month of the entire year. I found some amazing books, I read some old favourites, and okay, so for stats, more stats. I fulfilled every single prompt except for Fits a TBR. No. I fulfilled every single prompt except for a buddy read and title last letter, title first letter. So let's get into the books because that is the most interesting part. Starting with Influence by Sarah Shepherd and Lilia Buckingham. Now, the funny story behind this is that I got approved for an ARC on NetGalley last year. This was before I really got into murder mystery thrillers and fantasy and all of that kind of stuff. This isn't a fantasy, but the reason I'm mentioning that is because I feel like I truly discovered who I am as a reader this year. And part of that was getting into fantasy, completely unrelated. But funny story part is that I gave this a 5-star when I read the e-arc on NetGalley. However, I ended up giving this a 2-star. I don't know what happened in publication. I don't have words. I don't have words. It isn't what I remembered, and I don't know how it went from a 5-star to a 2-star after publication. Anyway, this book is of course about influencers. We follow a group of Instagram influencers and a murder happens. So social media. What I do like about this is it does focus on the dark side of social media, what it's like behind the scenes, and how most people, or a lot of people, are living a double life. They're not showing who they really are. And obviously we see this a lot with influencers. They broadcast the good parts but not the bad parts, and this book really goes into that, so it does that really well. It just was meh. But this book covered LGBTQ+, because we have a sapphic girl in this. It also is my team genre because my team covers anything that isn't contemporary, fantasy, middle grade, etc. Thrillers are my team genre, so I got myself points for this. It covered 2 prompts. It was hauled in the last year, and it's an author debut if you count Lilia. Obviously Sarah Shepherd is the author of the Pretty Little Liars series, so she's not a debut author, but Lilia is, so I counted that. For this, I got myself 275 points. The next book I decided to reread. I did a lot of rereading last month. It's my absolute favourite thing to do. Once I found the books and the series that I gel with, I just want to go back to them. And with Heartstopper, I feel like it really has my heart. It's the perfect graphic novel to just go back to time and time again, especially if you're in a reading slump, which I did have like miniature ones throughout the month. But I read Heartstopper Volume 1. This was my poll pick on Twitter. So that covers the poll pick prompt. Obviously, it's LGBTQ+. I don't need to go into what Heartstopper is because everybody and their mother and their dog and their hamster just knows what Heartstopper is. So, LGBTQ, obviously it didn't cover my teen genre. And as far as I can tell, it was not a host fave. But it did end up covering 4 prompts. It was my team colour, there's pink on the cover. It's a comfort reread for me. It is also self-published on Tapas, so I did put self-published. And it was my poll pick. And for this book, I ended up getting 275 points as well. I will always go back to this series. I love it. I need to cough. The third book I read was The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Another reread. This might have to be called the rereadathon for me because I did end up taking advantage of the comfort reread prompt. I really need to cough. I have a headache. Why am I filming? I am. Do. Fear nothing but a heartache. Ain't nothing but a mistake. I never wanna hear you say I've got a headache. Tell me why I'm filming with a headache. Tell me why. I can't sing anymore. So anyway, this is a comfort reread for me. Had to take a brief interlude to have a drink. So The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid follows Evelyn Hugo, an ex-Hollywood starlet. Think Elizabeth Taylor and Marilyn Monroe. I feel like she is a mixture of both. Like, this character is designed in their image. So we are following a struggling writer called Monique, and she is asked by Evelyn Hugo to do an expose on her life where she tells all about her 7 husbands, and the best husband she had, it is sapphic. I'm in love with it. I did a reading vlog. I will link the reading vlog down below where I became a mess over this again. But this book ended up covering 2 prompts, also being LGBTQ+. We have... Uh-oh. No. What's happened? I put POC representation, POC representation, but Taylor Jenkins Reid is a white woman, so I feel like I messed up there. I'm really sorry. Okay, lovely. So then we move on to Heartstopper Volume 2, another reread. I'm just going to be quick with this. It covered 2 prompts. It's LGBTQ+. It's a comfort read. It is a comfort read and self-published. I love it. So then I decided that I wanted to read more graphic novels, and I heard Jodie, Vanilla Moon, I think that's her username, talking about Snot Girl. So I found it online and I ended up reading the first edition. I gave it 4 stars. No, I gave it 3 stars. I gave it 3 stars. It was all right. I don't know if I'm going to continue with the rest of the series, but I did enjoy what I did read and what I took away from it. So I have put it down as a 5-star prediction, which it wasn't. And also out of my comfort zone, because whilst I have gone into the world of graphic novels with Heartstopper, I feel like graphic novels are still out of my comfort zone. So then I read Hunting Prince Dracula, which is the second book in the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. And I think I have a vlog where I'm reading the first one, or where I'm reading this one. I am reading this one, and I kind of talk a bit about how this book isn't as good as the first one. I did end up coming out with 4 stars because I do love these characters, and just Kerri Maniscalco is an amazing writer. I love the worlds that she builds and her characters and just all of that stuff. However, it wasn't as good as the first one. I didn't enjoy it as much. But this book covered Hauled in the Past Year. It was an alright book. Now we're moving on to one of my favourite books of the year, The Once and Future, which is by Alex E. Harrow. I have a reading vlog just dedicated to this book. It deserves it. This was a 5-star. So we follow these sisters who have estranged from each other for a few years. They've been apart, but when they were living together growing up, they were very close. And this book follows them as they come back together, and they're joined back together through the power of feminism and witchcraft. That's all I'm gonna say, because I feel like going into a fantasy like this, you don't really want to know a lot about it. Of course, if you do want to see the full synopsis, then head on over to Goodreads, my pal, because this book is amazing. Actually, head on over to Amazon or your preferred bookseller, because it's absolutely, like, just, how is this not the most gorgeous cover of the entire year? I'm in love with her. She is unmatched, and it's also got a sapphic relationship, but it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of in the background, and that's one of the things that I didn't really like about it, because I like my sapphic relationships to be, you know, obvious. This covers 5-star prediction, which it was a 5-star. It is on a Bookish Creators favourites list. I think this was on Ashley's or Maddie's list. I know it was a host favourite. It was a host favourite. But it's also on a lot of other Bookish Creators favourites list. It's Hauled in the Past Year, and there is also POC rep. So absolutely pick up this book. It's incredible. Moving on to Heartstopper Volume 4. Heartstopper Volume 4 is the best thing to happen to me this year. I actually read it. I read Heartstopper online. I haven't brought myself to get the collection to go on my shelves just yet, but I have now read Heartstopper Volume 4, and it is amazing. It was a 5-star prediction for me, and it also reminds me of a pride flag, because it has LGBTQ, there's mental health rep, it is self-published again, and it also has my team colour on it, so we love that. Stunning. Does anybody else watch Jamie and Chloe? I love them. I've taken to saying exactly. No, I can't do the accent. I can't do their accent. Stunning. Exactly. So, moving on to another 5-star, which is none other than Malice. I picked this up because of Amy, Books for Amy, and I'm in love with it. I get a lot of book recommendations from this lovely, beautiful queen, because She's amazing. She deserves way more subscribers than she has. But this book covered 4 prompts, is on a Bookish Creators Favourites list. It's a 5-star prediction, hauled in the past year, and it fits a TBR prompt because this was on my TBR for June. I'm so happy that I actually read a book that was in my Oracle card TBR game video. So this book is about a girl called Alice, but she's known by everyone as Malice because she is evil. Anyway, I just end up falling in love with the evil characters. Do they call them morally grey? I don't know what morally grey means, but I feel like she's that. And it's about Sleeping Beauty, or Aurora, and Maleficent, I suppose, Malice, falling in love. I think I should just read the synopsis. Once upon a time, there was a wicked fairy who cursed a line of princesses to die. A curse that could only be broken by true love's kiss. Utter nonsense. Let me tell you, no one actually cares about what happens to our princesses. I thought I didn't care either until I met her. That's how it always starts. Princess Aurora, the last heir to the throne, the future queen her realm needs, one who isn't bothered that I am the dark grace, abhorred and feared for the mysterious dark magic that runs in my veins. Aurora says I should be proud of my gifts, then she cares for me, even though it was a power like mine that was responsible for her curse. But with less than a year until that curse kills her, any future I might see with Aurora is swiftly disintegrating, and she can't stand to kiss yet another stupid prince, of course. I want to help her. If my power began her curse, perhaps it's what can lift it. Perhaps together we could forge a new world. Nonsense again, because we all know how this story ends, don't we? Aurora is the beautiful princess, and I am the villain. I'm in love. If that doesn't get you to read it, I don't know what will, and we should just give up now. Oh, you're making me feel. So now we are moving on to The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. Sometimes I forget that Christina Lauren isn't just one person, it's just 2 best friends that are so connected that they seem to just mesh into one beautiful, funny, witty person. This is a reread for me. It was one of my favourite books of last year. I know this book is really controversial. Some people think it's not steamy enough, others think it's finely steamy, and that it's not funny, etc. And then other people think it's funny. I love it. I love it. I love the cover. Yellow and pink is just one of my favourite colour combinations. And that is actually my 2 favourite colours, yellow and pink. So this story follows 2 people who are enemies to lovers. And they have to go on this vacation, a honeymoon vacation, because the bride and groom, which happens to be the girl's sister, can't go because they have food poisoning. I can't explain this. It's just a book about 2 people that have to pretend to be married, but they actually hate each other, but they're forced to spend all this time together, and you can guess the rest. So this covered 2 prompts, POC rep, and a comfort read. We love to see it. So then I got approved for a copy of Cheer Up by Crystal Fraser, which is a new upcoming beautiful graphic novel, and it's sapphic, and it's about cheerleading and a lesbian and a transgender woman. It is absolutely beautiful. I fell in love with the main character. She was everything to me. I also fell in love with her love interest, which is the trans character. if this isn't going to be a series, I just feel like she shouldn't publish this because I'm in love with it. I just, oh god. For me, this was a 5-star prediction, and also a pride flag looking book. It does remind me of a pride flag. Also, the cover kind of reminds me of She Drives Me Crazy, which I haven't read yet, but it's definitely, it's on my radar. So then I read All My Friends Are Dead. So I'm looking down because my spreadsheet's here. I read All My Friends Are Dead online, which is just a funny little book, and I think it's got a picture of a dinosaur on the front. Like a cute picture book that's just funny. It's just funny. It's called All My Friends Are Dead, and you can just imagine that it's about a dinosaur saying all my friends are dead, and then there's a tree, and there's I don't know how to explain this book. It's just hilarious, and it's by Avery Monson and Jory John. And this actually covered one prompt, which is out of my comfort zone, because picture books are out of my comfort zone. I feel really childish when I read them. So then I read one of my most anticipated books of the entire year, and it was really disappointing for me, but that is An Emotion of Great Delight by Tahara Mafi. I absolutely loved her first book, A Large Expanse of the Sea, and I just felt really let down by this. It was quite boring in parts, but also I feel like it is an important book. I don't really care for it. But it did cover 4 prompts. It was a 5-star prediction, but I ended up giving it 3 stars. It had mental health representation, and it also has POC representation, and it's hauled in the last year. So next I read Me, My Dad and the End of the Rainbow by Benjamin Dean. This is a really, really cute middle grade, all about a little boy that discovers that his dad is gay after all these arguments with the mother and the father, because obviously they are not getting along after this, and he decides to go on an adventure with his 2 little friends to Pride to discover, why it's happening and what he can do to basically understand. And it's just such a cute little adventure story. And of course I gave it 4.5 stars. It wasn't quite a 5-star for me because the writing for middle grades don't usually amount to that for me. But it was super cute and I really enjoyed it. Obviously this covered the pride flag prompt. It's also a 5-star prediction. Out of my comfort zone again because I don't really read middle grade, and it's also written by a black author and there is POC rep, so yes, and it's also LGBTQ plus. I just love it. It makes me glow. So then I listened to the audiobook for Nick and Charlie, which I didn't enjoy as much as the Heartstopper graphic novels. This was a story about Charlie leaving for university and Nick feeling like he's properly being left behind, and he's wondering if they're going to break up, if they're not, and we're kind of just dealing with the life changes of going to university and other people in your life feeling like they're being left behind. And it's just it's cute. I really enjoyed the audiobook because it was really interesting to hear the voices of Nick and Charlie. I feel like the people that did it on Scribd, I don't know if it's the same as the one on Audible, but the one on Scribd were really good because the 2 voice actors did a really great job of conveying emotion and acting it out. So I really did enjoy that. I gave it 3.5 stars just because it didn't match up to the the graphic novels for me, but still I feel like it has its place in the book community, and I really did enjoy it. Actually, I think I gave it 4 stars, but it was originally a 5-star prediction because obviously I love the graphic novels. It is on Bookish Creators' faves list, and it also reminds me of a pride flag. The final book that I read for this readathon, I finally read Well Played by Jen DeLuca. In the first book we follow Simon and Emily, and in this book we're following Stacey and what's his name? Dex. It's just another love story set at a Renaissance. I was about to say Renaissance fair. At a Renaissance fair. I'm really excited for, I think it's called Well Matched, to come out at some point this year. I forgot when it's released, but I did love this book. I gave it 4 stars, and it is on a Bookish Creators favourites list. It does remind me of a pride flag because of all the colours, and it is hauled in the past year. So that is all the books I read for Whateverthon. So originally I pledged 8 books for Comrades of Chaos. My team ended up coming second, which I'm happy for us. And I'm also really happy for the middle grade Monarchs who won the readathon. I'm just proud of everyone who took part because it takes a lot of energy to participate in a readathon. And I think when there's a competition, the true win is taking part and having a good time. So yeah, I ended up reading 17 books, and my current rank, my finalised rank is DT. So now it's time for the big reveal of my final total of points for the readathon, and that is 10,325. I am so happy with that. I read 17 books and got that many points, and I'm really proud of everyone that joined this readathon, and I'm still blown away by the final total stats overall with everyone participating. But yeah, that is the end of this video. Join me again next week for a new one.